Hello again, everyone. Warning: the views expressed herein definitely aren't necessarily those of the Best Buds Club, and certainly not of any gaming league. These are just my own personal thoughts, um, and I guess after my hit piece 3 months ago, I figured why not continue continue everything and just offer just my random thoughts. So we're just going to get into it um, because I have like a lot of burning things. And we're just going to start right now with this because I think um, I will say that IGL's response was great. I don't know how they could. I also say I don't know how they could have anticipated um, kind of what happened. So here's basically here's here's the TLDR, which doesn't really matter. So this was the first season for ones in IGL. Um, Also, they opened it up to West and Europe, which was great. That is a great move. So kudos on IGL for doing that. They opened up 2v2 to Western Europe, so they just did like a lot of great things this season. Um, so this focuses on the one side, because I basically, granted, I have two data points, two very important data points. They're both from my club, and just a bunch of guessing, which is fairly obvious. So what's the problem, you may ask? Well, the problem isn't necessarily in ones. Ones is a I will say in Rocket League, ones is a very interesting mode. It does not play anything like threes and even like twos. You can't blame your teammate. I jokingly say I am looking for a sub for my ones team, that sort of thing. I am bad at ones. I signed up anyways, just because. My ones game is lacking, and I could learn some stuff, and I figured I'd go in six. Um, and kind of throughout the season, what I quickly realized is that I am probably of the rare type, which I will cover that problem at some point when I get done setting this up. But yeah, I just mainly did just to try and get better at ones. I wasn't even expecting to go higher than whatever the gold 3 plat 1 ceiling I'm at. But just, try and do things and just like try and get better. Um, it's kind of been a mixed bag. I've just been kind of tackling ones on and off. So, like, I don't know. I've kind of gotten better, but I probably haven't kept up with just, I would say, the player base in general. The player base is, just kind of always gets better as time goes on. Since I decided to attempt ones about a year ago, just kind of on the side. I haven't been even too good at keeping a routine up. You can just look at my tracker information, really. Um, but went in. I went in fully expecting to just go 06, 0 and 18 in games. Like I had. That was my expectation. Just because I like really. Again, I'm really bad at ones. Um, but I could gain some experience and figure out how to go from there. So, where does that leave us? Well, before we get into the problem, I went 0 and 3 in my first three games. Lost 3-1 in all of them. Just identified things. I it's sort of yeah. I just like because I was playing. I think actual competitive. So like I feel that the bar is raised a little bit. Just even over ranked games. You know, again, wasn't expecting anything, but was figuring things out. But um, one of the things I obviously learned is just right now, my playstyle just doesn't lend itself to ones. So like, how do I improve on that? 0-3, but I didn't worry. Like, it wasn't even that I'd set the bar so low. It's just like, I'm not doing this for even any chance of glory. I'm trying to do this to get better and try and learn stuff. So we will now lead into the problem. I didn't play again until round one of the playoffs. Um, so that means I finished 3-3 in the regular season and didn't play a game for 3 weeks. So let that sink in. So I'm inexplicably in the playoffs for IGL in one because forfeits. And here's the problem. I don't think the IGL could have anticipated all these world class one players within 6 inches of their chair. Those type of one players. The best in the world within 6 foot or 6 inch radius of their chair. Signing up. Um, and all of them treated it like ranked matches in Rocket League. Um, you know, Missed a kickoff and just rage quit with 4:58 left on the clock. I don't know how IGL could have hoped to have anticipated this. Um, but that was an actual real problem. I don't understand. Well, I do understand why. Kids, like, when you sign up for something, just finish it. It doesn't matter how you go. Um, and yeah, sure, you won't be coming back anyways, because, you're, like, calculating the theoretical hit to your street cred, um, which you don't have any anyways. Um, there's a different kind of currency used here anyways than your street cred. Um, but I just kind of like look at everything in a vacuum, and I find that frustrating as a player. Um, you know, but I guess when you're 44 and you have a lot of experience, you approach things differently. And my approach was I was going to play all 6 games regardless of result. Um, I also would also rather lose, even if I lose badly, to get a result, than even just report a forfeit loss for myself. Um, so yeah, um, again, that just may be my mentality. Um, so like all these people just like quit because they just you know they just you know they're they'd be grand champs, but they're gold and their teammates suck. I don't know how to word it any other way. Other than to be disparaging to all the quitters. And I say this knowing that we had some within my own club. And you know, like I sort of get it from a team aspect, especially if you're playing up and you're getting just beat all the time. But just like roll with it. I've done that, and I've played up. I mean, like technically, I've played up this season. In threes, I'm borderline champ three. High champ two, borderline champ three. I mean, like I've sustained it for a long period of time, but like I'm not. I think my highest technically is 1470 or something like that, but that's just touching it. Um, touch 1450 a couple times, but mostly, yeah, hang out in that 1400 range. Um, when I can stabilize it, when I can dig myself out of holes. So yeah, I just think that just comes with it. It's just having the mental fortitude, and like I know I say that somewhat ironically, but like in rank play, if it looks like things are off, and it's just like you're just gonna get the crap kicked out of you. There is actually no shame in forfeiting when you know your team doesn't have it. When your team doesn't have it, that's at three down, and it just like looks at it. It's three or four. It just depends on like what you see going on out there. So, anyways, aside from this tangent, so on the ones. So we had all these quitters. I inexplicably make it in the playoffs. I covered on my club's channel. Um, just my personal exploits is that I wound up in the quarterfinals. So technically in the playoffs by default because of a bunch of quitters, and inexplicably beat my first round opponent and lost in five in the quarters. And my opponent in the quarters finished in third place. So kudos to them. Good finish. So that brings me to IGL. And I am going to praise the heck out of IGL for this. Because, again, I don't know how they could have prevented the quitters. But this is a great step they took. And I, I, I don't know I don't know what they could have done, you know, even with hindsight. Is like, could this be a good idea? Like, I think when you offer something for the first time, you just kind of want to do no strings attached almost. But now there's strings attached, and I agree with it. Ones, you can't play unless you've already played in a circuit. That is a great idea. Kudos to IGL. Like, I think that is perfect. And, that weeds out all the chaff. Um, like, I know there are ones players out there that are like, well, now I can't play without playing like 2v2 or 3v3 or something. It's like, yeah, for legitimate one players who, like, are whatever below, we'll just say below bubble, um, who are looking for experience. Yes, those players are legitimately like locked out of here. Um, but in this case it's unfortunate, but like I think unfortunately having, this is a case of the idiots ruining it for all the legitimate people, and I don't know how to solve it going forward. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Um, so I totally agree with IGL in this move. I kind of look forward to having it play out. Um, and the corollary to this is just show up and play your matches, everyone. It's not that hard. It really is not that hard. Um, so yeah. All right. So what do I want to complain about in the IGL? Um, well, we'll continue with the theme from the last time, and I say this again, not knowing the administrative side of IGL. Um, I just feel my common complaint is I just feel that they're a little bit understaffed. Um, this just probably is due to growth. Probably just not. It's always hard to figure it out. So I sympathize with that, but you know, on the other hand, it just does always feel like that IGL is a little bit understaffed. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's like bring on more people for staff, but it's probably volunteer because IGL is a free league. So like, I don't know how to totally solve that problem. Um, but yeah, that's just I just feel that they're just a little understaffed in general. Um, So I guess I dropped this on the club channel, but the so two other major complaints. Um, so the first has to do with ranking placements. Um, uh, this doesn't have anything to do with just like the Smurf problem or whatever. Um, because I have no idea the count of players that they have to look at. Whoever does that. Um, which also like so it looks like this season, which I try and read up on the rules, and I just missed it. They basically combine your threes, solo threes, and your twos ranking, and they just take the best of it. I feel that I say this at least for me. I feel that that is twos is a different ball game than threes, or is enough of a different ball game. I understand why IGL did it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do understand why they did it. It's, to reduce the amount of administrative overhead. That's just a lot of work. Again, I don't necessarily have to agree with it, but it is what it is. I understand, don't agree with it, but I understand. And I don't know. If I say why it affects, why am I mad? It affects me. Well, of course it affects me. That's why I'm mad at it. Just in twos, I play at a different level. It probably has to do with my playstyle. I don't. I would guess then I'm in the minority because of this. I don't actually know. But yeah, it, it's a minor complaint. They do treat ones separately. So that's good because like I wouldn't be playing ones ever again if they put me into tier 3. Like I would actually say like you guys need to redo the schedule because I'm not going to play this, session. I would have done that too if they had placed me in tier 2 because I'm not that good at ones. Um, but yeah, I sort of say, and like they fix it. I don't know, like if they added a ton of staff to look at ranks before each league, that would solve the twos problem. But like I have no idea what goes behind the scenes, but that is like I don't think that solves the problem. Because then it's possible they are overloaded on staff once they're done doing rank verifications. So, question mark. Um, so the other complaint I have, and again, this is just paying attention to everything, is tiebreakers. Tiebreakers don't seem to be uniformly applied. Um, so this is a personal experience. Well, not necessarily for me, but from the club, where the team finished 17th, lost out on tiebreakers. Tiebreakers were correctly applied. Um, but it seems like they just then went out the window once people were in the playoffs, and then the site was used. I know this will not even come across correctly. Um, just because of all this, but like, there were teams, it it's just oh, so there were three teams again. Actually, if you want to go to the BBC, maybe I'll try and link this video. That'll be like extra hard. Um, but there's a video on Best Buds Club Network uh, on YouTube. That's for a season review. It just breaks this down. And it's like basically what happened is tiebreakers were used, and this was the cutoff. And there may have actually been a team that had a complaint. And then 14, whoever finished 14th was 14th. I say this because the Red Bulls finished 16th, And by the tiebreakers that were laid out in the rules, they should have actually been 14th. Um, so I just wish that I understand it again, but it looks a little sloppy when that happens, because it just doesn't make sense then. So that would just be what I do is my suggestion is just when you apply the tiebreakers, just apply them uniformly throughout. That way people have a clear understanding as to what happened, and probably as a result is make sure that the tiebreaker scenario is working on the site, because otherwise, like, people are going to have confusion. Um, especially when you bounce around, um, and see tiebreakers are applied correctly in one division and in another division they're actually not. Um, all right, so that's enough complaining about IGL. What is IGL doing right? All the things I said 3 months ago probably still continue. Um, if you missed their announcement, they are adding another game. Um, it's just gonna apply my thoughts and kind of defend IGL on this. I know people ask for games, but I've seen stuff like, well, why can't we get an Overwatch League? And it's well, I mean, I don't know, like, where's the crossover from everything, but for all the reasons people have complained about, like Psionics, and with the lack of community tournaments, I mean, it's basically the same thing. And like IGL's not offering a cash prize here either, but yeah, some companies just are kind of a roadblock in that way to, like, open free community tournaments. Um, sure, it's a hell of a lot different than when I was playing competitive gaming 15 years ago. But that's the way things are. But they did recently add Brawlhalla, and let's just what did they add? What did they add? Where is it? Because it's here. Quantum League. So that's encouraging. Um, and I think that's good on IGL. Is not, you can't always just sit around there and whatnot. Um, so, like, kudos to IGL. Like, keep expanding, and, like, hey, take a listen at staff suggestion. Also, this will be probably sort of controversial because it affects my club, but they were on top of a lot of things. Even if it seemed unfair, end quotes, with removing teams. So kudos to that. Kudos, like, they had. This is one of the reasons why I love IGL. Is that, like, the basic rule? I mean, there's basically two rules: is don't lie about your ranks and just show up and play your games. That's it. Um, and then, yeah, there's whatever, a 15-page rule document, but a lot of it's just like procedural. It's just like, it's not that hard. Just don't lie about your rank and then just show up and play your games. That's it. And it works, but some people just can't do that. But you know, it's actually one of the reasons why aside from IGL, like, providing an outlet, for me to actually, like, play competitively, that isn't ranked. It's basically organized gameplay, which is, again, surprising. As a prior hobby of mine, I hated organized gameplay to some extent. But that's because Magic the Gathering is a very, very cruel mistress. Um, like, I there is there is a lot of like honor system that's in place for IGL, but like again, like if you're just just I don't know why that's up. Just show up and play, like, and everything works out. It just makes the experience better for everyone. Like, yeah, it sucks losing, but learn from it. Um, like I'm like I know there's always going to be rumblings, but like not every and no league, not even freaking RLCS is going to be like perfect. But it's in a way, it's about the journey. And it's trying to get it to be as close to perfect as possible. Learning what you did wrong, and trying to improve it, trying not to make those mistakes. And I don't know if I'm in the minority on this or not, but like again, like IGL does a lot of things right, and again, usually the complaints come out of a group party. I mean, look at my laundry list already. So it's like but like again, despite all the complaints I have, IGL does do a good job of what they do. Um, so I'm excited for whatever dumpster fire my squad looks like for the spring circuit in Rocket League. But yeah, I don't know what a nobody's endorsement is worth. Um, but IGL, let's just so they offer Rocket League, but they also offer Killer Queen Black, Smash, Apex Legends, Mage Quit, Battlerite, Brawlhalla, and Quantum League. Um, like I actually don't know how they started because this is going to be like 2 years for them. We started Best Buds Club started last summer, the 2019 summer circuit. Um, but again, like I feel like they're doing a good job. It's very hard to complain. So I think they're doing a good job, and like on a personal front, I'm kind of excited for the summer circuit. Get back in there. I probably won't play any of these games. It's just that I don't have the time to invest. I sort of value my free time, and I devote a lot as it is to Rocket League. But it's good to see that IGL supports these games. And obviously, some of them that's like the developers come to them, but like you know, uh, it's good to see that that happens, and it's good to see those partnerships flourish. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do it for I don't know what I'm going to title this series. I mean, from a personal standpoint, I love Why Your Street Cred Does Not Matter, but I think the original title is going to be Why Your Street Cred Does Not Matter in the IGL. You silly ones players. Um, but yeah, so that'll go ahead and do it. This only matters if you're watching live. In a little bit, I am going to do a return to what you are doing wrong. Um, yeah, and we're going to analyze the Red Bulls playoffs games. I'm zeroing in on two different instances, which were pretty key, I think, in actually deciding the series. So that'll be coming up shortly. But for anyone who has stuck through with this nonsense, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in a little bit.